The game of the week pitted the Safford Bulldogs against their crosstown rivals in the two-time defending 2A champion Thatcher Eagles, and we've got all the good stuff, so let's get it on. After methodically moving the ball down the field on its first possession, the Eagles got two big runs from Breton Dodge to set them up with first and goal from the 10. A third Dodge run in a row looked like the Eagles would be knocking on the end zone, but the play was called back for holding. On the very next play, the Eagles were thwarted by a call they didn't get. It appeared that Thatcher quarterback Jack Courtson might have been dropped by an illegal horse collar tackle, but the refs didn't see it that way. Facing fourth and goal from the 10, the Eagles went for it, but Justin Torrio fought off a block and tripped Courtson up before the pylon, and Safford held on to take over on downs. On Safford's third play from scrimmage, Mason Duros hit his fullback Robert White for a first down and more as White headed down the sidelines, and he could go all the way, but no, Thatcher's Riley Morris comes out of nowhere at supersonic speed to save the touchdown as White goes 58 yards to the Eagles' 27. After a couple of passes put them at the 10, Duros tried his hand at rushing, and Mr. Duros meet Mr. Quentin Turley. Duros bounced right back and hit Jarek Arbizo on an out to put the Bulldogs first and goal from the 5. After a field change for the end of the quarter and a run by White that put the Bulldogs at the 1-inch line, C.J. Scrivener went up and over for the game's first score. The extra point was good and Safford was up 7-0. The Safford defense did better on Thatcher's second possession and forced them to punt after a 3-and-out. And it wasn't too long before Safford was knocking on the red zone after Arbizo made a nice catch on a beautiful pass from Duros. 2 plays later, it looked like Duros had a sure TD pass to tight end Nathan Wilms, but Dodge got his hand in there and knocked the TD right out. Wilms was shaken up on the play and appeared to injure his wrist. On 4th and 10 from the 25, Duros found Scrivener open in the back of the end zone, and the Bulldogs went up 14-0 over the champs. Thatcher stuck to its game plan, and Courtson scored a couple of big runs down each of the sidelines to put the Eagles into Bulldog territory as time began to run out in the second quarter. After a third straight keeper by Courtson brought the Eagles down to the 15-yard line, the senior quarterback hooked up with Utah State-bound big man Cole Motes to give the Eagles first and goal from the 3. 2 plays later, Dodge pounded his way in and stretched the ball over the goal line to put Thatcher on the board. But the Bulldogs headed into the locker room still up at halftime, 14-7. Johnson Motors is proud to sponsor our local high school athletes. If you're in the game for a new ride, trust Johnson Motors for a great deal on a quality new or used vehicle. Shop our virtual showroom and then stop on by for a test drive. That's Johnson Motors in Safford. After just missing hooking up with White on what would have been a sweet play, the Bulldogs lined up to punt on their first possession of the second half. But Motes came unblocked off the edge and blocked the punt, giving the Eagles excellent field possession at the Bulldogs' 30-yard line. After Breton Dodge converted on this 4th down and 2 play, the Eagles went to the well again, and this time Dodge wasn't denied the end zone as he raced around the left side for the 15-yard score and tied the game up at 14 apiece. Safford didn't mope around, however, and Duros came right back to hit Torrio on what was possibly the best catch of the game. Watch how Torrio gained control of the ball and got his foot down before getting knocked out of bounds by the Thatcher defenders and somehow managing to hold on to the ball. Well done, sir. A few plays later, Duros hooked up with Torrio again as Dodge fell on his coverage and Torrio took it in 29 yards for the touchdown. The extra point was missed, however, and Safford was up 20-14. The Safford defense then stepped it up and had Thatcher going backward as Samuel Tobias fought off a block and ran down Dodge on 2 consecutive plays, putting Thatcher in a 3rd down and forever. After the Bulldogs shut down this screen attempt, the Eagles were forced to punt. On the Bulldogs' first play after the punt, however, Scrivener forgot the ball, and Connor Russell beat Duros to the spot to recover for Thatcher, after Courtson just missed a wide-open Spencer Stevens over the middle that could have easily gone for 6. The Eagles tossed up a jump ball on 4th down to Motes, and he tipped it to himself. He's going to come down with it, but Joseph Smeltekop came in at the last second and knocks the ball away, and Thatcher can't capitalize on the turnover. After a Safford punt, Courtson took off around the left side, and after giving a rope-a-dope to Arbizo, they're not gonna catch him, as he goes 70 yards to pay dirt, and the extra point finally gave Thatcher its first lead of the night in the fourth quarter, 21-20.
Tell me a little bit about that 70-yard run you did on the sideline. How did that happen?
Well, we just kind of sucked them in on our other plays, and I ended up pulling it and read my read, and I was gone. No one was there.
Is that something you like to do, is to get around, get a wet willy?
Yes, sir, yeah. I love getting long runs and taking it and going on with it.
Safford began moving the ball again with a nice toss and catch to Arbizo, but the drive stalled around midfield when Thatcher blew up the screen attempt on fourth down. However, Moats was flagged for an unsportsmanlike penalty after doing a WWE impression over Arbizo. But since the penalty happened after the play, Thatcher kept the ball on the turnover on downs and just moved back 15 yards. It was crunch time, and the Eagles' workhorse Riley Morris came through with a 25-yard pickup into Bulldog territory on a 3rd and 5. Courtson then kept it himself on a 17-yard scamper around the left side to the 7-yard line, and the big green machine was in business. 2 plays later, Quentin Turley took it in from 2 yards out, and Thatcher was up 28-20. Safford began its comeback attempt, but on 3rd down and long, Duros couldn't find anyone open downfield, and the comeback hopes went down with this sack as Duros came up limping and had to be helped to the sidelines. Safford then turned the ball over on downs, and Thatcher ran out the clock to preserve the victory and keep control of the rivalry trophy.
Our kids played very, very hard and went toe-to-toe with the 2-time defending state champions of 2A football, and nobody thought we had any business playing with them. I think the Arizona Republic had a 49-14 prediction, and Thatcher's they're good, but I hope people realize we're a pretty good football team too. Very, very proud of our kids. Very proud of my coaching staff, the community, the band, the cheerleaders. This place is a great place. We just got to win some games.
We felt like defensively we had made some mistakes that we shouldn't have made, and so we felt like in pretty good shape that we would be able to come out and put some drives together, and that's what we did. A lot of credit to Safford. They got a good ball team. They just got to keep plugging away. So, it wasn't like we were caught by surprise. We just didn't execute, and they did, and they made us pay, and that's what a good football team will do. We feel like we can wear people down. We've got our line does an excellent job, and we got big, strong kids, and we use that to our advantage. So, but we got to clean up our passing game. We got to get better. Otherwise, people are just going to stack nine in the box and make us pass it. And so we got to make them pay when we do pass it. We had some chances tonight and we missed it.
Tell me a little bit about the Safford-Thatcher rivalry here. I know you're from Wilcox, but you've been with Thatcher a few years now, right?
Yes, sir. I mean, from what I've heard and now I know, I didn't get to play in the game last year, but it's a huge game. A lot of emotion goes into it, and this win feels really good, and I'm glad to be here and be for Thatcher.
Reporting from Safford for the Gila Herald, I'm John Johnson.